Should you invest in a property in Portugal? For the past 10 years, property values have been on the rise, and right here in Porto, they even rose during the pandemic. Hey expats and travelers, I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere, and today I want to show you 4 different properties for investing or living here in Porto with the question in mind, is it the right investment? Now, it's only for you to decide, but come join me. All right, first impression, guys, obviously we're looking right here. This apartment already has the classification, alojamento local, so it means that you can rent it for short term. So it's on the Airbnb market now, fully furnished. Let's go take a look. Okay, for investment purposes, I really like this place because it comes fully furnished, and as you guys can see, there are some amazing details with this place. It's got a really nice color palette, and you don't have to do anything else. You can just buy this property and be able to start to rent it out because it's classified as an AL. It's not technically a 1-bedroom place because there's no physical door, but the bedroom area is of a large size. You've got the bathroom there as well. So it's a really, really interesting investment property. Something that really struck me about this place is just how quiet it is inside. So you have these really nice windows, double glazed. You have blackout curtains that are electric. So you can put them down, completely make the place dark at night. So when the sun comes up in the morning, you can still sleep. And you can't hear any of that outdoor noise. So even though we're in one of the busiest parts of all of Porto, it's quiet. I love the floor. It's from 2015, so if we're thinking right now is 2021, it's been about 6 years, and the guests have kept this place in very good condition. I can't imagine they've repainted in those 6 years, and there are only a couple spots on the walls that need to be touched up, and that's it. So you're gonna be getting really good guests here, I imagine. For the price that people are paying, you're not gonna get rough guests to mess up the place. So it's a cool investment, I think. For $350,000, it seems like it could cash flow and you get some return.
So welcome to Aliados 107. This is 2015 luxury development. This building was actually a bank in the old days. It was converted into a residential development by Avenue, which is a luxury developer in Portugal. They have several high-end developments in Lisbon and Porto. As you can tell, the quality is really high-end. You can feel it as soon as you enter in the building. It's pretty solid. Everything's marble. The outside, the common areas are all marble. Beautiful finishings. As you enter the apartment, you can feel it's quite solid. The insulation is perfect. The floor is natural solid wood. Kitchens are all copper bush with pog and pole cabinets. There's a fully equipped laundry with high-end equipment. The apartment is beautifully furniture, as you can tell, and it's sold as it is. There's air conditioning, really high ceilings and really uncommon for apartments, residential apartments. The room area is big enough, a lot of storage area for a 1-bedroom apartment, and the bathroom with natural light, it's all marble floor and walls. As far as location goes, it's difficult to get more prime than this. We're located at Avenida dos Aliados, which is where you'll find most of the 5-star hotels, such as the Intercontinental Hotel and the Monumental Hotel. The city hall is at the top of the avenue. This avenue was known for banks, so the main Portuguese banks were all founded in the north, in Porto, and their headquarters were, all of them were in this avenue. So that's why when you walk around, you see these look-alike buildings which are really, really impressive in size and in finishings and in quality. And this is one of the best examples we have of a building being converted into residential. It's really outstanding, and if you were here, you could feel what I'm talking about.
Wow, this place is really, really impressive. You have these white walls. Looking over here, you've got this beautiful tile work, over 300 years old. I mean, history. This is history here in this unit. It's absolutely incredible. Now, I'm not saying it's a place maybe that Kaylee and I would want to live just because of where it is in the city and also the fact that it's actually a T0. We have a loft upstairs. So that division between us and Valencia isn't there, but to have this property as one that we could rent out would be absolutely amazing. To be a guest and to rent this through Airbnb, for example, and to come in here and stay here, mind blown, honestly. And I just heard what the rates are here. In the low season, around 40 euros. In the high season, around 75 euros. If I were to walk into a place like this for 75 euros, I would be so happy. I mean, think about hotel cost, right? You also have a kitchen so you can cook. This wash basin here is centuries old. It's absolutely amazing. I love all of the different unique things about this place, the way it's been furnished, and that comes included in the price. Let's have Artur tell you about the price.
So this is a studio apartment inserted in Flores 77 development. Like you said, it's a building from 1703 and it was renovated and refurbished almost 2 years ago. Beautiful building, maintained all the characteristics like the stone, this original sink with more than 300 years old. Beautifully refurbished, beautifully renovated with a lot of quality and beautifully furnitured, as you can tell. The studio has more than 70 square meters and it has a 9 square meter outside area, very pleasant. So, as I said, it's located at Rua das Flores, one of the most iconic and touristic streets in Porto. Tourists have a big demand for it, mainly because of the street itself. It's a beautiful street. The location is really close to the river bank, where it's one of the biggest points of interest in the historical center. There's a lot of fashionable restaurants at the end of the street. 50 meters distance, you have some of the best restaurants in town. You have the Museu da Misericórdia, which is a museum of old art. You have a rooftop on the street above, which is really pleasant to go during the afternoon just to chill out, and it's a very known rooftop. So the place itself, if you want to buy this and put it on the short-term rental market, this couldn't be better. A group of friends to spend the weekend, it's perfect.
Stepping into this space, what really strikes me is just how beautifully restored it is. I think it's absolutely amazing. I know if I were a renter on Airbnb, for example, and I came into a space like this, I would be really pleased at my selection. Obviously that depends on the price, you know, so good value for money. Don't know how much a place like this might rent for on Airbnb or even the long-term market. We're gonna try to check that out for you guys. We'll put that in the description section below once we do find out how much it'll cost. But I'll tell you, I do like the kitchen. I think it's a smaller kitchen, right? But it fits perfectly with this space, and there's enough space to do your cutting. So let's say that you wanted to buy this for an investment purpose and turn it into an Airbnb. I don't think people would be too agitated with the size of the kitchen. It works, it's functional. You have TV connection just on the other side of this wall, so you can mount a TV here for your guests. It's a large space with high ceilings, and then you have the bedroom on the other side with a really interesting feature built into the wall where I think a beautiful painting would go. Do you want to take that risk with Airbnb guests? That's up to you guys. I think I would. I don't know if I'd put a super expensive painting there, but I think I would want to put some sort of painting there, maybe of something in Porto to liven up the area. Toranja has some great artwork that you could hang up there. One of my favorite features that I really want to point out to you guys is when I see pocket doors, because I think that they just save so much space. Being able to divide the rooms, this one's nice and thick, so I think it's going to be pretty soundproof. Love that to save space. 47 square meters here. You need space saving things like that. It's super cool. So let us know what you think of this property.
So this is Casa dos Oliveiras development. It's an 18th century manor, a private manor that was converted into residential apartments. We're on the first floor. This is a one-bedroom apartment. Some of the main characteristics of the house maintained. This is original Flores Riga, an amazing wood, impossible to find nowadays. They left the doors, the characteristics of the doors as it was. These are the original shutters that they restored and maintained, so that you have an historical feeling inside, but of course everything was very well refurbished and modernized. Very high ceiling, so for a smaller apartment it gives you a much more comfortable feeling. Here it's the living area, the kitchen area. This is a non-equipped apartment, so there's no fridge, freezer, stove, oven. There's an exhaust system. It's mandatory, but nothing else. There's the area for the freezer and the fridge, of course, the stove, the oven, but no equipment. In here, we can find the bedroom, a lot of light, a lot of storage area with linen finishings, and the bathroom with entrance for natural light as well. So the pricing is 240,000 and the apartment has 47 square meters. It also has a parking place, which in this location, it's really important. The location itself is super touristic, very lively and very livable. Around this location, we have some of the most fashionable restaurants, like Flow Restaurant, one of the best brunches in town, right across the street, called Nicolau. Going down this street, 2 minutes walking, we're in Praça dos Leões, which is a very touristic area, very beautiful area surrounded with monuments. A big variety of coffee shops, restaurants, cultural monuments. And right on the back, we have the Sedufeita street, one of the oldest streets in Porto, dating from the Roman time. And it's one of the oldest commerce street in Porto as well, where you have loads of local shops, bakeries, supermarkets, banks, all type of services. So it's very cozy to live here on a daily basis because you can get groceries, you can go to the bank, you can get your breakfast bread in the morning, 2 minutes walking distance.
So I just got shown around the whole property and we're gonna have our tour explain some of the different features, but I wanted to come and talk to you guys about what I see as well. Now, it's a studio here in the back, and then in the front there are some one-bedroom places, and he was telling me that against this wall here, you're gonna have kind of like a Murphy bed. So this space is gonna be quite open. Now, we have some shots of a spot that they've kind of modeled out. So it has the floor down, you have the kitchen, so you can see what the kitchen looks like. But right now, we just kind of have this shell, if you will. The interesting thing is this project is set to finish at the end of the year, and I think that you will have great opportunities to Airbnb this. If you do want to live here, it could be a very interesting option. Certainly most people, when they live in a place, they at least want when they're buying a place, they at least want a one-bedroom, which would be the front of the building. And you know, it could be interesting, I guess, as an investment to buy one of each, and that will get you to the $500,000 mark, which is what you need. Now, that does end at the end of the year, so end of 2021, that ends. So you need to go ahead and get that promissory contract, get the money in the bank. It doesn't have to, you know, be finalized, but you do need that legal work to be finished up so that you can purchase something like this and have that golden visa. Beautiful exteriors. It's gonna be really cool outside, I think. Kaylee and I always love these spaces in the back, and there's so many in Porto, these like hidden gardens and terraces that you can enjoy. So let's keep taking a look around and listen to Artur explain this property.
So this is OPO Flexible Living. It's a new residential project in Almada Street in Porto, so prime historical center. It combines living amongst history with the coziness of a modern and green environment. It divides in 15 apartments between studios, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments, all with veranda, terraces, or garden. The price ranges between 225 for studios, 340 around that for 1-bedroom, and then we have an amazing 2-bedroom apartment with 180 square meters for 550,000 euros. The building itself has an elevator. It's a granite facade. The building, so just for you to have an idea, historical buildings are very protected, so you're obliged to maintain this beautiful granite facade, but the entire interior was demolished, rebuilt with metal structure, with anti-corrosion sheet, reinforced concrete. Everything is super modern inside for you to have a cozy experience, but then you have this historical surrounding. It's 5 minutes walking distance from the Trindade metro station. You're surrounded by the Avenida dos Aliados, which is a prime avenue in the historical center. You have the Lelo book store really close by, the Clérigos Tower really close by. So it makes a wonderful experience living here.
All right, guys, so we've had an opportunity to take a look at several apartments for investment purposes. Now, Kaylee and I are going to give you guys our opinion on what we think of the 4 different places we saw. Let's go. Okay, guys, so we love to wrap up these types of videos with a bit of an opinion at the end. And I'm gonna give a hot take really quickly about this one, which is none of these apartments would actually work for us right now because we have a daughter and we're looking for at least a T1 plus 1 or a T2. So a T1 plus 1 would mean that there's at least 1 bedroom that has a door, and then there's a space, another living space for a bed, which I think we would stay in. If it's a T2, then obviously there's 2 bedrooms, so you can close both doors and Sia can go to sleep, lights can go out.
I will say though, if we had the money, then we could get our own place and have one of these for an investment. So yeah, it doesn't work for us right now, also because we don't have the money to have it for an investment. So there is that too.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first place that we saw.
Okay, the first unit is in Aliados. The location really can't be beat because it's a massive popular square. It's right by the metro. And I think what's really good about this one is it's already registered as an AL. So that means if you're buying it for an investment, you don't have to hassle with getting that registration. So you don't have to pay for that. You don't have to wait in line because there's a long line for it. And I think even right now, they're having a hard time processing those. So the fact that it's already set up and ready to go and it comes furnished, I think this is a really good investment for someone for like an Airbnb short-term kind of thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. We've actually talked to a couple that has lived in Aliados and they love it. It's a couple and they had a one bedroom place. They said it was fantastic. So it's possible to live there, right? As an investment though, like Kaylee said, if you have the fact that you are in Aliados or that's your address, it's just going to attract so many more people. I mean,
it's so central. It's such a great area. I will say too, though, people that we do know that are in that area, it can be quite noisy, especially when you hear sirens, because I think it's such a busy area for people and for cars and trucks and things like that. So I think that the noise could be something. Yeah,
it's not going to be noisier though than the Oliveiras location, which was the 3rd location that we saw, but we'll get to that after we talk about the 2nd location, Flores. Okay. So what do you think?
So this was a tough one for me when we talked about different spots around the city for investments, because a lot of people ask me, where in Porto should you stay away from? And generally, I would say, I used to say this area. And the reason I would say this area is because it was going through a gentrification before COVID. And then COVID hit, and unfortunately, like, because it's such a touristy area, it was dead. And there was a lot of homelessness, there was some drugs, it wasn't well lit, this area, and there was construction that was halted. So it kind of just looked sketchy and not very polished. It wasn't very nice. And so I would tell people, don't stay there, because it almost would be like a ghost town in the evenings, which was really unfortunate. But now things are definitely coming back to life. So it's not so sketchy feeling, I guess. There's just way more going on. There's a couple 5-star hotels that have come in. Construction is finally...
Are you sure they're 5-star?
That's what Artur said. Artur said 5-star hotels.
Okay.
He said 5-star hotels.
Fair enough.
So, or at least nice hotels that have some outdoor seating. The construction is finally getting cleared up and finished, so it's becoming much nicer. So I guess I would say if you would have asked me this about a year ago or 6 months ago, I would say this wouldn't be a good investment area because it still has a long ways to go. However, now that stuff has come alive, they're actually moving very quickly, and there's supposed to be a metro opening up in a couple years. So this could actually be a good investment. I would say investment for a little bit, like for the future. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I know what you mean, yeah.
People like the area now, but I think it'll be even better in maybe like 5 years or something.
I think the area still might have a bit of a stigma from the past in terms of talking to locals. They might say, some of them might say that that area is not very good, that street maybe is not very good. The street parallel to it, for sure, they'll say that is not very good. But I like it. I think it has a massive impact on tourists whenever they visit. It looks absolutely stunning. So around the corner is actually the entrance to this apartment, and it's awesome because you're not on the actual main street there. It might be a little tricky going up that hill, but if it's an investment property, then that's going to be up to the Airbnb guests.
Right. I think two things to keep in mind for investments is it's close to São Bento train station, so people coming in on the train will see that and really like that. And the other thing is it's quite central to everything else. So when people start looking what to do in Porto, this will be a very good area because it's close to the river, it's close to Aliados. There's a lot going on in this area, so that is a good investment in that sense.
Yeah, for me, all of them are in a good walking distance from São Bento station, which is I don't want to call it the main train station, but I guess it is the main train station of Porto. And yeah, it's probably the closest one, right, of the ones that we saw. Now let's talk about another one that's in walking distance, which is the one that's in Feita, and it's on Oliveiras.
Yes. Now this is a really happening area because of all the variety of restaurants and bars that are in this area. It's close to Feita, the pedestrian-only street, but then you have every type of food you can think of, every type of drink you can think of, and I guess you could say it's the place to hang out at night. So that is something to think of. If you're coming like as a family, maybe this wouldn't be the best area, but if you're coming and you're keen to go out, then this would be a good area.
Yeah, absolutely. It is in a prime location if you're a foodie. I think we would struggle if we actually lived there because we would not save any money because we'd be eating out all the time.
Yeah.
Am I right?
That's a good shout.
In this area, it's quite known for being a younger crowd, being more party goers. Not particularly that street, but certainly you will get more noise. But again, inside the apartment itself, you don't hear that outside noise because of those double-walled windows.
They did a really good job actually of that. The noise canceling is really nice in there. So I don't think you necessarily would, people would keep you up at night as opposed to the Aliados one where you might hear the sirens, which would be much louder. But there will be people out like probably all night in that area.
The one thing I struggled with is wrapping my head around how to actually equip the place and decorate it. So I might say like get a professional decorator, professional interior designer to design it so that it can be on point for your Airbnb guest if you do decide to go that route.
So it can be super functional because it is a smaller space.
Yeah.
So for it to be functional as a short-term rental, yeah, you might want someone to come in who knows what they're doing and kit it out, right?
Absolutely. And get a piece of art for that little nook there. Now, finally, talking about not being able to wrap your head around a place is that the last place that we saw, the one that was under construction, which might give you the best value, that one was on Almada. And Almada is seeing a lot of renovation going on. That's a happening street, or it's really going to be up and coming in the very near future. It runs parallel to Aliados, so it's just a couple streets up, and it's got a lot going on.
There is a lot, and I think it's quite common nowadays for people to see these buildings that are going up and then invest when they're kind of almost ready, because it's a good value. And I guess it's hard to kind of wrap your head around what things are going to look like, especially if they're making them for short-term rentals. Then you can be assured that it's going to be kind of functional, right? The newer builds that they have going on.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about investing in a property like this would be to expect delays, because there always tends to be delays with new construction. You will see a published project completion date, and I haven't seen many of them actually meet that date. So, be on the lookout for that, especially if you're going to get a mortgage for this type of property. But if you're not, and you're looking at that golden visa option, then as we talked about there, you could combine a couple of the properties and hit that threshold. Just make sure that you do it before the end of 2021 when the golden visa runs out.
In Porto, right? In Porto.
In Porto,
Lisbon, and
in
everything.
Porto, Lisbon, kind of really anything on the coast.
Yeah, that's what I would say is the main thing about this location is that when you have something under construction in Portugal, it's never on time when they say it's going to be. So just keep that in mind. So if you have plenty of time, then this could be something for you if you're not rushed with that, but definitely keep that in mind.
And always negotiate. Try to get the best deal for you, and good luck. If you guys want to check out more properties here in Portugal, click this playlist right here. Now let's get moving.
Bye.
Bye.